Remember the ending of the first Black Panther film, that final battle, which honestly looked like it belonged on the CW in The Flash's first 2 seasons? Yeah, those special effects were god-awful. But now we know why, and it's no surprise at all that it's Marvel Studios' fault. Okay, so before somebody thinks I'm just hating Black Panther, no. I love the film. It's in my top 10 MCU films. I just do think, as most people can see with their own eyes, that the film clearly had some problems, specifically in the visual effects department, and this all relates to mainly the third act of the film, where things just started to look real bad. I mean, everybody's pointed it out. It just looks horrendous at some points, like there was missing shadows, lighting was off, the texture mapping was off, there seemed to be no tessellation on anything, like it just looked bad, okay? Like there was legit video games that look better. I mean, it was sad, but it was what it was, and we were all kind of like, well, it was probably rushed production. Well, thanks to a brand new interview with one of the visual effects artists who got to sit down and talk to Inverse, he went on and talked a little bit about what exactly went on with the visual effects and why they look so dodgy in that third act. And what he says is, and I quote, "It falls squarely on the shoulders of studios that set a release date and then work backwards from there. The time isn't enough to live up to the ambition of the project," end quote. He also did debunk the major rumor that they only had 6 weeks to work on that entire final confrontation, saying that wasn't the case, but instead they did have thousands upon thousands of visual effects, and what they were able to accomplish was, well, for the mandate, and what they didn't get to accomplish, they didn't have enough time because, again, the mandate got in the way, so they had to have what they had presented as a final end result because the film had to come out on that specific day because Marvel Studios wasn't going to delay the thing. So again, I want to bring up Scott Derrickson, who left Doctor Strange, where he said the mandate is one of the things that made him leave the project because Marvel Studios and Disney give you a release date and they say, this is it. And this quite clearly was a casualty of that. Nobody's gonna tell you that the third act of Black Panther looks incredible. It doesn't. I mean, some of the rhinos, for example, they just look bad. Some of the sequences where they're literally like jumping around and floating look amateurish at best. But again, they didn't have time. And we can acknowledge this and still love the project and point out its flaws, like I'm doing right now. And I think this just brings up a bigger argument and the Marvel Studios idea of, we don't care, get it out here, do or die. And that's kind of bad. And again, we see it recently happen again with Spider-Man. And it might be happening with Doctor Strange as well, for all we know, because the reshoots were so recent that do they really have enough time? I mean, I think this is just going to continue to be evident the more and more we see dodgy CG, which seems to become more normal as time goes on.